If you're restoring a Porsche 928, chances are your rear cargo area interior trim is warped around the rear window area. In this video, I take you through the steps I did on my Porsche 928's rear cargo trim to reduce the curling and repair a torn leather area. Where my left hand is, that's a great shot of the rear speaker location and what the sun-protected speaker grill, the color underneath that buttery caramel color is there and not as faded. The passenger side trim was clearly not as exposed to the sun as the driver's side. This was a pretty straightforward process of where I used steam from my steam cleaner, a combination of that and a hair dryer to really get that flexible again. Once I had it heated sufficiently that it would bend, I used some solid maple boards I had laying around and wood clamps to make that form and get it back into the shape it needed to be. Just like woodworking, you can never have enough clamps. And that's really all I had to do to the passenger side before I dyed it. Here's a shot of the first coat of dye going on. I used a foam brush for the first two coats. Now the driver's side, let me start here. This was in much worse shape. Now you look just below my right hand. There's a good shot of how much more the leather on this side of the car, the driver's side that is, was faded compared to the passenger side. Just below my right hand is the speaker grill. Again, you can see the buttery color versus what's been bleached out. Now the staples had been pulled out here, and just below my right hand where you see, like right where my belly is, you can kind of see where the panel underneath is curling up, and then by just below my left hand it did this wicked curl down, which caused the material to stretch. But you could see just how curled this side was. So here I am trying to do the steam bend, and I'm waiting for it. At one point I tried using steel braces to get this. I thought maybe I'd leave those in, but I found that just bending it was going to be the right system here. So you can see the leather still is weak, but at least I was able to get underneath it, tuck it under. The leather pulled away. I do have it steamed, the under panel, and it's not fiberglass, it's not press board, it's kind of a hybrid between the two. But at this point now, I'm trying to get the leather to stretch back on here. So I do have it nice and flat, constantly trying to steam this. And again, I'm working with 38-year-old leather here. And here you see me trying to really force it and stretch, get it back on. But unfortunately, this had already stretched, shrunk, I should say. And I'm trying to do it, but ultimately, this is what I ended up with. The leather was just so old. Once the leather has shrunk, it's only so much you can do to stretch it. So unfortunately, to make that curve work, I knew I was going to have to do a patch. Luckily, there is extra material hidden behind the back seats. What I decided to do was basically a skin graft. I needed more material to make up for the shrunk leather. I decided to cut a patch out of this section here. So here's the rough cut patch that I'm putting in. And I'm actually using Gorilla Glue tape underneath to be the backer. I'm just trying to cut that as best I can. There's a good close-up of it. You can see the original leather, how far it's been bleached from the sun exposure, and then the same material from the same lot, same dye and everything that has not been exposed to the sun. And now that's my baseline. Start filling back in the patch and make it look as close to original as I can. This material is a flexible crack repair that forms a flexible bond. It's like a flexible Bondo, perfect for leather cracks. And I took the better part of a week to fill this and sand it. It's kind of like body filler. You just have to, or spackle, if you will. You just have to do thin layers, sand it up, and blend it in. You can see I even used Gorilla Tape to try and recreate the edge there. It's a very strong tape, and it looks pretty rough, I know. But again, most of the time it's going to be hidden from view. You're slowly getting feathered in a little bit more. Keep adding more material. Each subsequent layer I did, it was thinner and thinner. I think as you see now, it's getting harder and harder to see that patch I put in. Here I am cleaning the leather from the sanding dust. I got it to a point where I was happy with it. Again, not many people are going to see this, so now I'm applying the first coat of dye. You can already see what a great match this is. There's a close-up on the speaker. This color is just such a great match. After a coat and I can see what everything looks like, I wanted to feather it a little bit more. So I did lightly sand between coats, as they recommend. This is, I think, 220 grit. And I'm just lightly scuffing the first coat of dye. Now I'm putting on a second coat of Surflex. It's a good close-up showing the brush strokes. I recommend the foam brush over a traditional one. It tends to blend the brush strokes a little bit better. Now this third coat, I actually used a shop towel, again, to minimize the brush strokes. You see me doing a circular motion, fill in any missed areas from prior. You see now on the escutcheon, I've taped it off and just rubbing the dye into the panel. So, not far from perfect on my patch work, but I'm happy with it. The quality of the car, and it looks a lot better than it did. So now this is a shot of the trim piece removed. This is the driver's side window, and this vinyl piece was still filthy. So I'm using my Honda plastic and rubber cleaner. Let that soak in. So now that you see that vinyl trim curtain is clean, here I'm rough fitting the restored panel in. So I'm still rough fitting it in. Of course, I got to put the speaker back in and all the other trim pieces, but you can see it's a nice clean piece. I think it'll look good once I fit it in and get all the bolts put in. And my body working skills aren't the best, but it certainly looks better than a torn, very badly warped piece. Thanks for watching this video. Please press the like and subscribe button, comment below, and be sure to check out our other videos on this subject, as well as all of the great content on our YouTube channel. If you have any questions, you can call me at the number listed below, or be sure to check out our main website, guyswithrides.com.